The notification chimed just as I was settling down with my morning coffee. Another WhatsApp message in the family group chat, this time announcing my parents' 30th wedding anniversary celebration. I stared at the screen, watching the blue ticks appear as other family members read and responded with enthusiastic emojis. No one had mentioned that today was my 32nd birthday. Again. Planning meeting tonight at 7 p.m. sharp. Dakota, we'll need your writing expertise for the speech. My mother Victoria's message appeared, followed by a string of responses from my siblings. Wesley, count me and Allison, joining from London. Cassandra, perfect timing. Just finished an exhibition setup. I set my phone face down on my desk, turning to stare at my laptop where my half-finished manuscript sat waiting. At 32, I'd published 2 moderately successful nonfiction books, yet somehow my greatest literary achievement in my family's eyes was crafting speeches for their celebrations. Mom? Harper's voice cut through my thoughts as my daughter burst through the apartment door, her college backpack slung over one shoulder. Oh my God, Mom, I'm so sorry. I just remembered what day it is. She dropped her bag, dark hair flying as she rushed to hug me. I was so caught up with midterms, I completely. It's okay, sweetheart, I said, though we both knew it wasn't. You're here now. She pulled back, her eyes catching the WhatsApp notification still glowing on my phone. Is that about Grandma and Grandpa's anniversary? Yes, I forced a smile. The big 3-0. Are they serious? Sending party planning messages on your birthday? Harper grabbed my phone, her face darkening as she scrolled through the chat. They want you to write their anniversary speech again? After they've forgotten your birthday for what, the 5th year in a row? 3rd, but who's counting? I tried to laugh it off, but my voice cracked. My phone buzzed again, this time with a private message from my mother, Victoria calling. The screen displayed her carefully curated profile picture, perfect hair, perfect smile, perfect everything. Grandma Victoria trying to coordinate the anniversary already? Harper asked, her tone bitter. I nodded, letting it ring. The message notification popped up immediately after, Dakota, dear, don't be difficult. The planning meeting is essential. Everyone's made time for it. You know what? Harper grabbed my hand. Let's go get breakfast right now. Let them wait. Before I could respond, my phone lit up with a message from my brother Wesley, Mom's trying to reach you. Important anniversary planning meeting tonight. Don't make things complicated. I showed Harper the message, and she rolled her eyes. Don't make things complicated? That's rich coming from the brother who forgot to invite you to his gallery opening last month. He didn't forget, I corrected. He assumed I wouldn't want to come because I was busy with my little writing projects. 3 more notifications popped up in quick succession, messages from my father Edmund, my sister Allison, and my sister-in-law Cassandra. The family digital cavalry was out in full force. My phone vibrated with another message, this time from Cassandra, your mother's getting anxious about the meeting. Please respond. You know how she gets about these events. I do know how she gets, I whispered, more to myself than Harper. She gets exactly what she wants, while I get. I gestured to my quiet apartment, the forgotten birthday, and the stream of demanding messages lighting up my phone. Harper squeezed my hand. Mom, you don't have to keep doing this. Something shifted inside me then, like a notification sound that couldn't be ignored. I looked at my daughter, really looked at her, and saw the fierce protectiveness in her eyes, the understanding that ran deeper than blood. You're right, I said slowly, a plan forming in my mind as I glanced at my laptop. Maybe I don't. What are you thinking? I picked up my phone, scrolling through the perfectly punctuated demands from my mother. I'm thinking it's time to write a different kind of story. My phone lit up again with another message from Wesley. Meeting starts at 7 p.m. sharp. Video call link attached. Don't make mom wait. I turned to Harper, feeling lighter than I had in years. How about that breakfast? She grinned. Really? And afterward, I glanced at my laptop where my nearly finished manuscript sat waiting, its working title glowing on the screen. Seen and unread, A Daughter's Guide to Digital Invisibility. I think I finally know how to end my book. As we grabbed our coats, my phone chimed with a final message. Victoria's name appeared with a voice note attached. I pressed play, and her carefully modulated voice filled the room. Dakota, darling, we simply must discuss the anniversary arrangements. Do respond immediately. You know how important this is to the family. We need your way with words to make everything perfect. Harper and I shared a look as we headed out the door. For once, I didn't feel guilty letting the messages go unread. After all, they'd had no trouble ignoring my birthday notifications for years. Maybe it was time they learned how it felt to be left unread. I walked into my home office after breakfast with Harper to find an email from my mother, her signature passive-aggressive touch. Attached was a digital photo album titled Family Milestones. I clicked through the images, and there they were, decades of perfectly orchestrated celebrations. My fingers hovered over the screen, tracing my mother's designer dresses, my father's tailored suits, both of them beaming at the camera while holding crystal champagne flutes. My phone buzzed with an incoming video call. Ready to join the modern age, I see. Victoria's face appeared on my screen, perfectly lit despite the early hour. Why weren't you responding to the group chat? I was celebrating my birthday, Mother. I kept my tone neutral, continuing to click through the album. A pause. The video froze for a moment. Oh. Was that today? Yes, just like it has been for the past 32 years. Another pause. She adjusted her camera angle. Well, darling, you know how busy things get this time of year. Now about the anniversary. I noticed you shared the digital album, I interrupted, stopping at a particular photo from their 25th celebration. Interesting choice of pictures, isn't it? Wonderful. I thought it might inspire your speech. You always do such a lovely job capturing our family's legacy on social media. I stared at the group photo. Wesley stood proudly beside our parents. Allison elegantly posed on their other side. I was technically in the shot, barely visible in the background, my face half hidden behind my laptop as I worked on their previous anniversary speech. Our legacy? I repeated softly. Yes, these photos certainly capture that. A notification sound saved me from more anniversary talk. Someone's at the door, Mother. I have to, but we haven't discussed I ended the call and opened my door to find Cassandra standing there, clutching her tablet, looking uncomfortable. Your mother sent me, she said, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. She's worried you're going to make things difficult. She's already drafting a post about the anniversary preparations. Define difficult, I said, leading her to my office. Cassandra spotted my laptop screen with my manuscript draft. Ah, your new book. Look, Dakota, I know things aren't always perfect, but this anniversary means everything to your parents. The whole community will be watching. I opened the digital album to their 27th celebration. Do you remember this one, Cassandra? When I had bronchitis, but Mother insisted I give the speech anyway because the Instagram Live was already scheduled? She shifted uncomfortably. You handled it beautifully. It got so many likes. I passed out right after. Wesley had to drive me to the emergency room while Mother continued posting highlights to her stories. I pulled up the social media posts from that night. The speech was still trending locally the next day. My phone buzzed with a message from Allison. "Mother's having a meltdown in our private chat. What are you playing at?" "You know what's funny," I said to Cassandra, ignoring the message. "In all these perfectly filtered photos, in all these carefully curated celebrations, there isn't a single birthday post for me. Not one in 32 years. Dakota. Did you know Harper found my mother's digital calendar last year? Every family birthday is marked with a reminder except mine." I closed my laptop firmly. Even my daughter's birthday has a countdown widget, but not mine. Cassandra reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "Your mother means well, she's just extremely online." "Yes, she is. And I'm just her daughter." I walked to my desk and opened my laptop again. "Would you like to see what I've been working on? Your new book?" Cassandra perked up. "Victoria mentioned you were writing another nonfiction piece." I turned the screen toward her. Her eyes widened as she read the title, Seen and Unread, A Daughter's Guide to Digital Invisibility. "Dakota, you can't." "Can't what?" "Tell the truth?" Her face paled. "This will destroy them online. Their whole image." "The anniversary event will go on as planned," I assured her. "I just won't be writing the usual speech this year." "What are you going to post instead?" I smiled, closing my laptop. "Nothing. I won't be there." "You have to be there. It's trending already." Cassandra stood up, flustered. "What will people think?" "Your mother's already got influencers confirmed. They probably won't notice. After all, I'm usually just tagged in the background anyway." Cassandra grabbed her tablet, heading for the door. "I have to tell your mother. This will ruin her engagement rates." "Go ahead," I said quietly. "She probably won't remember this conversation anyway, just like she doesn't remember my birthday posts." After she left, I returned to the digital album. Behind the last photo, I found a message from my mother. "Darling, use these memories to craft something special for the live stream. Make us proud." My phone buzzed with a text from Harper. "Just ran into Aunt Cassandra in the lobby. She looked upset." "You okay, Mom?" I typed back, "Never better. Want to help me write a different kind of anniversary story?" Her response was immediate. On my way with coffee and zero filters, I closed the album and archived it in my cloud storage. For years, I'd crafted beautiful captions about my family's perfect love story. This year, I would tell a different story, the true story. Let them see how it feels to be the ones left untagged. The prodigal sister returns. Allison's voice rang through my apartment's video intercom. I hadn't seen her in person for 3 years, but her timing was impeccable, just as I was finishing the final chapter of my manuscript. "Don't you have diplomatic meetings to attend?" I called through the speaker. "Darling, we need to talk about this little tantrum you're throwing." She appeared at my door moments later, looking exactly as she had in her latest LinkedIn update, perfectly coiffed, expertly styled, and thoroughly judgmental. "Tantrum?" I kept typing. "Cassandra told me about your plans to skip the anniversary. And apparently you're writing some sort of exposé?" She perched herself on the edge of my desk, checking her reflection in her phone camera. "It's called a memoir, Allison. You know, like my other 2 books about family dynamics? The ones you never shared on your socials?" She picked up a framed photo of Harper from my desk. "Not about our family." I stopped typing. "Put that down." She set the photo back with exaggerated care. Mother's beside herself. She's had to reschedule the entire social media campaign. How tragic. Don't be petty, Dakota. It doesn't suit your personal brand. Allison leaned forward, lowering her voice. What do you want? More visibility? A featured spot in the anniversary highlight reel? We can arrange something. My laptop pinged with an incoming email. I opened it, reading aloud. Dear Ms. Rivers, we are thrilled to express our interest in your memoir, Seen and Unread. Your powerful exploration of digital age family dynamics and emotional neglect in the era of constant connection resonates deeply. Allison's face tightened. You've already submitted it? 2 weeks ago. Publication date is set for next month, right before the anniversary. Is it? I must have missed that notification. Allison stood up, her composure cracking. You know what your problem is? You're too sensitive. Always have been. Remember when you cried because I got 10,000 followers on my travel blog and you got a generic keep writing comment from Mother? The comment was 3 months late, and it was copied from a motivational meme. See? Sensitive. She waved her hand dismissively. Some people just aren't meant to be social media influencers, Dakota. You should accept that. The apartment door opened again, and Harper's voice called out, Mom? I brought your favorite cold brew. Allison's eyes narrowed. Ah, your co-conspirator arrives. Harper appeared in the doorway carrying 2 coffee cups. She froze when she saw Allison. Aunt Allison? Aren't you supposed to be in Geneva? Hello, dear. We were just discussing your mother's latest literary venture. Harper set the cups down, her voice cool. You mean her best work yet, the one that's already getting buzz from publishers? The one that will humiliate our entire family's online presence, Allison countered. The truth can only humiliate people who deserve it, Harper shot back. Careful, dear. Loyalty is admirable, but you wouldn't want to alienate your entire follower base, Allison said, her voice honey-sweet. I stood up. Don't threaten my daughter. Threaten? I'm trying to help. Allison pulled out her phone. I'm messaging Mother. This has gone far enough. Do you know how many brand deals could be affected? Go ahead, I said. Tell her I'm being difficult again. Tell her I'm too sensitive. Tell her whatever you want. It's all going in the book anyway. Allison's fingers stopped moving over her phone screen. What exactly is in this book? Everything. I opened my laptop again. The forgotten birthdays, the dismissed achievements, the time you all went to Bali for Christmas and forgot to tag me in the family photos, the Instagram posts I'm mysteriously absent from the gaslighting, the constant reminders that I should be grateful just to be included in the family group chat. Those are private family matters. Not anymore. I turned the screen toward her. Want to hear Chapter 7? It's about the time Mother told my publisher that my first book was just a hobby during her live-streamed 27th anniversary party. Allison's phone buzzed with notifications, probably Victoria demanding updates. She ignored it, her face pale. You can't do this. Actually, Harper chimed in, holding up her phone. She can, and she should. I've got screenshots of everything. You're making a mistake, Allison warned, heading for the door, a massive, engagement-destroying mistake. After she left, Harper turned to me. You okay? I nodded, returning to my manuscript. Just finishing the epilogue. What are you writing? I read aloud as I typed. Sometimes the greatest act of self-love is simply making yourself visible. Sometimes the hardest truth to tell is your own. And sometimes the only way to be seen is to stop performing for others' cameras. Harper squeezed my shoulder. Perfect. My phone lit up with messages. Mother, this is unacceptable. Wesley, your behavior is affecting our family metrics, father. Don't upset your mother's social calendar, Cassandra. Whatever you're planning, think of the optics. I turned off notifications and looked at Harper. Ready to help me write that dedication page? She grinned. To the family that taught me the importance of being seen, by showing me what it feels like to be filtered out. Perfect, I said, and started typing. The pre-anniversary dinner was Mother's idea, a small family gathering to sort things out offline. I knew better, but here I sat at their formal dining table anyway, pushing food around my plate while everyone pretended everything was normal, phones carefully placed face down beside their plates. More wine, Dakota? Mother held the bottle poised, her smile camera ready. You've barely touched your glass. I'm fine. You look tired, dear. Are those blue light glasses helping? She poured anyway, filling my glass to the brim. Writing can be so draining, can't it? Wesley cleared his throat. Speaking of writing, how's the new book coming along? The table went silent. Even the clinking of silverware stopped. It's finished, actually, I said, meeting his gaze. Final edits were approved yesterday. Wonderful. Mother brightened. Will we get advance copies for the anniversary party? We could do a lovely unboxing video. I don't think that's appropriate, Mother. Allison cut in, shooting me a warning look. Why not? Father spoke for the first time, looking up from his phone. Dakota's books are always a point of pride for our social presence. I couldn't help myself. Are they? When was the last time any of you actually read one? More silence. Cassandra jumped in, ever the peacekeeper. I loved your last book, Dakota, the one about the immigrant family in Detroit. The aesthetics of the cover were perfect for my gallery's feed. Thank you, Cassandra. Did you enjoy the part about the mother who actually remembered her daughter's birthday posts? Mother's wine glass froze halfway to her lips. Really, Dakota? Must I what? Write about functional families? Sorry if that affects your brand. That's enough. Wesley snapped. We're here to discuss the anniversary celebration, not your literary career. My literary career pays for half these Instagram perfect celebrations, I reminded him, or did you forget that too? Here we go, Allison sighed, checking her phone. The martyr act again. It's not getting any likes, Dakota. Harper, who'd been quiet until now, slammed her hand on the table. Stop it, all of you. You sit here staging the perfect family dinner while treating my mother like she's nothing but a content creator for your perfect family facade. Harper. Cassandra reached for her hand. No, Aunt Cassandra. Harper stood up. I've watched this my entire life. You all take and take from her, expect her to show up, give speeches, write captions, play her part. But when was the last time any of you actually showed up for her? We're her family, Mother said firmly, already angling herself for the best lighting. Everything we post is for family. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound that surprised even me. Family? Last week was my birthday. Again. Where were all your celebratory posts? Oh, darling, you know how busy things get during anniversary planning season. Mother waved her hand dismissively. I was doing an Instagram takeover in London, Allison added. Wesley mumbled something about engagement metrics. Father just looked at his phone. Was it really last week? See? I pushed my plate away. This is why I'm not giving a speech this year. Mother's face darkened. You most certainly are. It's tradition. Think of our followers. Like forgetting my birthday is tradition? For God's sake, Mother, you post about National Coffee Day but can't remember your own daughter's birthday? Wesley exploded. It's just a birthday. Stop being so dramatic. Dramatic? I stood up slowly. You want to see dramatic? Check your emails. I sent you all advance copies of my memoir an hour ago. The sound of phones being pulled from pockets filled the room. I watched their faces as they read the synopsis, the color draining from their cheeks. Mother's hand shook as she read aloud. Seen and unread explores the subtle cruelty of digital age emotional neglect through one daughter's journey of surviving a family that perfected the art of selective visibility. You can't publish this, Wesley whispered, staring at his screen. Already done. Release date is set for your anniversary, actually. I smiled. Funny how I remembered that date perfectly. This will destroy our social media presence, Allison hissed. Our entire digital footprint. Your digital footprint? Harper interrupted. What about her heart? What about 32 years of making her feel invisible? Mother stood up, her chair scraping against the floor. I will not be painted as some sort of monster in your little book. Do you know how many followers I could lose? You painted that picture yourself, I replied quietly. I'm just sharing the unfiltered version. Edmund? Mother turned to father. Say something. Father looked at me for a long moment, then back at his phone. Should we post about this now or wait for the PR team's input? Unbelievable, I whispered, grabbing my purse. Come on, Harper. We're leaving. Dakota. Cassandra called after me. Please, we can fix this. We'll rebrand the whole thing. I turned at the door. That's the thing, Cassandra, it was never broken. This is exactly how everyone wanted it, everyone except me. As Harper and I walked to the car, I could hear Mother's voice floating through the dining room window. Well, I suppose we'll need to rework the social media strategy now, and someone will have to write the anniversary captions. Some things never change, but this time I wouldn't be there to document it, and for once, that was entirely my choice. My publisher called early. I put her on speaker so Harper could listen as she made coffee in my kitchen. Dakota, the early buzz is incredible. Sarah gushed. People are calling it raw, unflinching, a masterpiece of digital age family dysfunction. We're pushing up the release date to maximize impact. 2 days before the anniversary instead of on it? Harper asked, sliding a coffee toward me. Exactly. Sarah confirmed. The timing is perfect. We've already got 3 major podcasts interested in interviews about digital family dynamics. My phone lit up with another notification, Allison again. I swiped it away. How are you holding up? Sarah asked. Family fallout can be rough, especially online. I started, but was interrupted by pounding on my front door. Dakota, open this door right now. Mother's voice carried through the apartment. Have you seen what's trending? I'll call you back, Sarah. I hung up as Harper went to answer the door. Victoria burst in, clutching her tablet. Have you seen these preview reviews? Have you seen what people are saying? Good morning to you too, Mother. Don't you dare take that tone with me. She thrust the tablet in my face. Look at this, a searing indictment of social media family dynamics, a mother's digital emotional distance laid bare. Do you have any idea what this will do to our online presence? Make you finally see me? See you? She laughed bitterly. All we've ever done is try to help you succeed. Who paid for your website? Who connected you with social media managers? Who forgot I existed unless they needed content? I cut in. Who made me feel like I was never enough for the perfect family feed? You're being ridiculous. She turned to Harper. Talk sense into your mother. Harper crossed her arms. I helped her write the book. Mother sank onto my couch, pressing her fingers to her temples. This isn't happening. The anniversary is in 2 weeks. Everyone will be there, the mayor, tech influencers, all our connections. Perfect audience for a book launch, Harper muttered. My phone buzzed again, Wesley this time. Mother grabbed it before I could, putting it on speaker. Dakota, the morning shows want interviews with all of us, he said without preamble. They're calling it a digital family reckoning story. Absolutely not. Mother snapped. Mother? Wesley sounded surprised. Are you at Dakota's? Trying to prevent our family's complete social destruction? Yes. I took my phone back. No interviews, Wesley. The book speaks for itself. Then speak to me now. Mother demanded. Tell me what you want. More Instagram features? A bigger role in the anniversary livestream? Your own highlight reel? I want you to understand what you did, I continued, what you all did. What we did. She stood up, smoothing her skirt. We gave you everything. You have a verified account because of us. Except love, Harper said quietly. Except real connection. Mother's phone chimed. She glanced at it, her face paling. Your father just got a message from our biggest sponsor. They want to postpone our anniversary campaign until this family matter is resolved. Postpone? I couldn't help smiling. But it's tradition, Mother. You can't break the content calendar. You're enjoying this, she accused. You want to hurt us. No, Mother, I want you to feel what I felt. Every forgotten birthday, every dismissed achievement, every time you made me write captions celebrating your love while ignoring mine. I want you to understand. By humiliating us publicly? By exposing our private messages? Mother's phone chimed again. Allison's flight is delayed. She says the international press wants to run excerpts from your book, Global Coverage. Harper whistled. Trending worldwide, Mom. Mother sank back onto the couch. What do you want me to say? That we were terrible parents? That we failed you? That we cared too much about our online presence? I want you to say you see me. Really see me. Not just as a prop in your perfect family photos. I see you now, she whispered. I see what you're capable of. That's not what I meant. She stood up again, gathering her purse. Well, you've certainly made your point. I hope this book brings you whatever closure you're looking for, but don't expect to be welcomed back to the family group chat after this. Back where, Mother? I was never really included in the first place. At the door, she paused. You know, I always thought your sensitivity was your greatest weakness. Now I see it's your most powerful weapon against us. After she left, Harper hugged me. You okay? My phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Good morning, America wants you tomorrow. Ready to tell your story to the world? I looked at Harper, then at the text. You know what? I think I finally am. Good, Harper smiled, because Grandma's right about one thing. Your sensitivity isn't a weakness. It's your superpower. And now everyone's going to see it. I picked up my phone to reply to Sarah, feeling lighter than I had in years. It was time for the invisible daughter to finally be seen, and this time, everyone would be watching, not through filters or carefully curated posts, but through the raw, unedited truth of my words. The day my father betrayed me started like any other board meeting at Evergreen Chemical Corporation. I stood in our company's state-of-the-art conference room, watching Victoria, my stepmother, arrange her sustainability reports with manicured precision while my father Harrison paced near the smart display, checking his Apple Watch every few minutes. My name is Augusta, and I'd spent the last 3 years revolutionizing our company's environmental initiatives, transforming a traditional chemical manufacturer into a beacon of sustainable practices. That vision died today. "Everyone, please be seated," Harrison announced, his voice carrying that authoritative tone I'd grown up both respecting and fearing. "We need to discuss the future direction of our environmental division." Blake, my stepbrother, sprawled across his executive chair with a smug expression that made my stomach turn. At 22, he'd never worked a day in his life, preferring to post about sustainable entrepreneurship to his million Instagram followers while studying for an MBA he barely attended. "As you all know," my father continued, his eyes scanning the room but carefully avoiding mine, "I've been evaluating the profitability of each division." He smiled at Victoria, who beamed back with practiced charm. "After careful analysis, I've decided to dissolve the environmental division and transfer all ongoing projects to Blake's new digital innovation team." The words hit me like a physical blow. I gripped my tablet, my knuckles turning white against its recycled aluminum case. "What?" The word escaped as barely a whisper. "It makes perfect financial sense," Victoria chimed in, placing her hand on Blake's shoulder. "The market needs disruption, not just conservation." "Dad," I managed to say, fighting to keep my voice steady, "we've reduced the company's carbon footprint by 40%. Our sustainable packaging initiative has saved millions in regulatory fees. I have contracts with 3 major—" "Augusta, please," my father cut me off, raising his hand. "This decision wasn't made lightly. Blake has some innovative ideas about blockchain carbon credits that align better with our future vision." Blake leaned forward, his designer watch glinting under the LED lights. "Don't worry, sis. We'll still need someone to handle the ESG reports. Maybe you can help with that?" I stood up abruptly, my legs shaking beneath my sustainable silk suit. "ESG reports?" I laughed, but it came out more like a sob. "I've built partnerships with every major environmental organization in the country. I've testified before Congress on chemical safety regulations." My father wouldn't meet my eyes. "You'll maintain your current salary, of course, but Blake will be taking over as Chief Innovation Officer next month." "Next month?" The room started spinning, the recycled glass walls seeming to close in. "You've already decided everything? The restructuring is final?" My father finally looked at me, his expression a mixture of dismissal and barely concealed impatience. "I'm sorry if this disappoints you, but it's what's best for the company's growth." I grabbed my tablet and sustainable leather briefcase, nearly knocking over a potted plant in my haste. "Congratulations, Blake," I managed to say, proud that my voice didn't crack. "I hope you enjoy dismantling 3 years of environmental progress." "Augusta, don't be dramatic," Victoria called after me as I headed for the door. "This is exactly why we needed someone more pragmatic, in charge of innovation." I paused at the doorway, turning back one last time. "Dad." He still wouldn't look at me, suddenly fascinated by his presentation slides. "We can discuss this later, Augusta." "No," I said quietly, "we won't." I walked out of that conference room with my head held high, rode the elevator to the parking garage where my hybrid SUV was parked, and then let the tears fall. My phone buzzed, a message from my best friend Maya. "How did the quarterly meeting go?" I started the engine, my vision blurring. "They're killing the environmental division," I typed back. "Everything I built. Everything Dad promised to support." Maya's response was immediate. "I'm coming over. Don't do anything rash before I get there. Remember, we've got that contact at the Environmental Defense Fund. As I drove away from our company's LEED certified headquarters, I caught a glimpse of my father watching from his corner office window. For a moment, our eyes met, and I saw something flicker across his face, regret, maybe? But then Victoria appeared beside him, tablet in hand, and he turned away. 3 years of my life. 3 years of developing sustainable chemical processes, negotiating with environmental regulators, building relationships with conservation groups. 3 years of early morning conference calls with European partners, late nights perfecting impact reports, missed vacations, and cancelled climate summits. All of it handed to Blake on a silver platter because his mother had convinced my father that her precious son's blockchain carbon credits were the future of sustainability. My phone buzzed again. Maya, this isn't over. You've got the expertise and the connections. They've just freed you to do something bigger. I took a deep breath, wiping away the last of my tears. Maya was right. This wasn't over. I might have lost my division, but I hadn't lost my knowledge, my patents, or my determination. They wanted to push me aside? Fine. But they were about to learn that I was my father's daughter in more ways than one, and I didn't give up on the environment without a fight. 3 days later, law office, 3 days after my world imploded, I sat in Marcus's law office, surrounded by towering bookshelves filled with environmental law texts and the smell of fair trade coffee. The environmental lawyer had known me since I was in pigtails, and his familiar, weathered face showed genuine concern as I recounted what had happened. I just don't understand, I said, twisting a recycled paper business card in my hands. How could he legally dissolve an entire division like this? Our environmental patents alone are worth millions. Marcus removed his reading glasses, rubbing the bridge of his nose. Your father restructured the company's environmental portfolio last year. As CEO and majority shareholder, he had the right to reassign those assets however he saw fit. Last year. The betrayal cut deeper. So he'd been planning this. Augusta. Marcus hesitated, then walked to a large filing cabinet made of reclaimed wood. There's something else you should know. Something about your grandmother Eleanor's will. My grandmother had passed away 5 years ago, leaving everything to my father, or so I'd thought. Marcus returned with a thick folder, placing it on his desk with careful precision. Your grandmother was a remarkable environmentalist, and she was, let's say, prescient about certain possibilities. He pulled out a document and handed it to me. There's a clause here that your father doesn't know about. Eleanor set up a trust fund in your name with very specific conditions. My hands shook as I read the paper. $2 million? I whispered. But why didn't I know about this? The clause stipulated that you could only access the money if you started your own successful environmental consulting firm by the age of 35. Eleanor believed in direct action, not just corporate environmentalism. She wanted her legacy to inspire real change, not just compliance reports. I sat back, stunned. Does my father know about this? Marcus shook his head. No. Eleanor was very clear. This information was to be revealed only to you, and only if you were ever pushed out of the company's environmental initiatives. She knew. I breathed deeply, remembering my grandmother's passionate speeches about corporate responsibility. Somehow, she knew something like this might happen. Eleanor watched your father marry Victoria, Marcus said quietly. She had concerns about the direction the company might take. My phone buzzed, another message from Maya asking how the meeting was going. I ignored it, focusing on the document in my hands. What qualifies as a successful environmental consulting firm? I asked. According to the terms, You need to show demonstrable environmental impact and a profitable quarter within your first year of operation. The business must be entirely yours, no corporate partnerships with Evergreen Chemical. I let out a shaky laugh. No risk of that anymore. There's more, Marcus said, pulling out another document. Eleanor left detailed records of various environmental initiatives, potential partnerships, even market research she'd conducted on sustainable chemical alternatives. She wanted to give you tools, not just capital. Why didn't she just tell me all this before she died? She believed you needed to understand the corporate world first. Her words were, Augusta needs to see how traditional businesses resist change before she can truly drive innovation. I stood up and walked to the window, watching electric cars glide silently below. $2 million, I repeated. That's enough to start a real environmental consulting practice. It is, Marcus agreed, but Augusta, this won't be easy. The sustainable business sector is highly competitive, trust fund or not. I turned back to him, feeling something I hadn't felt in days, hope. Nothing worth doing for the environment ever is, right? There's one more thing, Marcus said, his expression serious. If you accept this challenge, you can't tell anyone about the trust fund. Not your father, not Victoria, not even Maya. The money must appear to come from your own savings and environmental impact investors. Eleanor was adamant about this. Why? She wanted your success to be attributed to your environmental expertise alone. No one could claim you succeeded because of family money. I nodded slowly, a sustainable business plan already forming in my mind. Can I take these documents to review? Of course. Marcus gathered them into a recycled paper folder. Augusta, your grandmother believed in you. She saw something in you that reminded her of herself. As I stood to leave, Marcus called after me, one last thing. Victoria called yesterday, asking if you'd been here. She seemed concerned about potential environmental whistleblowing. I smiled, thinking of my stepmother's worried face. Let her worry about their regulatory compliance. I've got bigger environmental challenges to focus on now. Walking out of the office building, I finally replied to Maya's message, meet me for coffee. I've got an idea for a sustainable future. My grandmother had given me more than money. She'd given me a chance to prove that profitable business and environmental protection could coexist, to build something truly sustainable, and unlike the corporate position my father had promised, this was something no one could take away from me. I looked up at the clear blue sky, silently thanking my grandmother for her foresight. She'd known I might need an escape route from traditional corporate thinking, and she'd provided one, but only if I was willing to work for real environmental change. Challenge accepted, Grandma. Time to show them what true sustainability looks like. At the coffee shop, an environmental impact consultancy? Maya stirred her fair trade latte, raising an eyebrow. That's quite a pivot from corporate chemical manufacturing. We sat in our favorite eco-friendly coffee shop, laptops open, surrounded by the buzz of afternoon customers. I'd spent the last hour outlining my ideas, careful to avoid mentioning the trust fund. Think about it, I said, turning my laptop to show her my research. The market for environmental compliance is exploding. Companies want to be sustainable, but they don't know how to transform their operations without sacrificing profitability. Maya leaned forward, scanning the screen. And you're thinking what, exactly? Comprehensive environmental transformation services. Everything from chemical process optimization to carbon footprint reduction. I pulled up another tab. Did you know most companies want to go green but can't find consultants who understand both environmental science and business operations? And you think you can do better? I know I can. I opened my spreadsheet. I've already identified 5 potential corporate clients who are struggling with environmental regulations. If we can help them transition to sustainable practices while maintaining profitability, we could revolutionize how businesses approach environmental responsibility. Maya's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and frowned. Heads up, Blake's been asking around about you. Apparently, Victoria's worried you might expose some of their environmental compliance issues. Let them worry, I said, thinking of the folder from Marcus sitting safely in my apartment. I've got bigger plans for actual environmental change. Speaking of plans, Maya said, lowering her voice, how are you going to fund this? Starting an environmental consultancy isn't cheap, and you just lost your position. I'd prepared for this question. I've got savings from my corporate days, and I'm planning to approach impact investors. My track record at Evergreen gives me credibility in the environmental sector. Augusta. Maya hesitated. Are you sure you're not just doing this to prove something to your father? I'm doing this for the planet, I replied firmly. Dad made his choice about environmental responsibility. Now I'm making mine. The coffee shop door chimed, and I froze as Blake walked in, wearing his usual designer outfit that screamed greenwashing influencer. He spotted us and sauntered over, pulling up a chair without asking. Well, he smirked. Planning your next career move? I heard our compliance department is hiring. I closed my laptop slowly. Actually, I'm starting my own environmental consultancy. His laugh was sharp. You? A consultancy? With what capital? That's none of your business, Maya cut in, her tone icy. Look, sis, Blake leaned forward, his voice dripping with fake concern. Why don't you come back to Evergreen? I could use someone with your environmental compliance experience for our blockchain carbon credit initiative. I appreciate the offer, I said, keeping my voice steady, but I'll pass. Some of us prefer to create real environmental impact rather than just talking about it on social media. His smile faltered. Dad's worried about you, you know. He thinks you're not thinking clearly about the business realities. Dad lost the right to worry about my environmental vision when he gave you control of our sustainability initiatives. I started packing up my things. Tell him I'm fine. Better than fine, actually. Whatever you're planning, Blake called as we stood to leave, it won't work. The market's not ready for hardcore environmentalism. I turned back, meeting his gaze. Watch how ready they are for actual sustainability. Outside, Maya linked her arm through mine. You know what? I'm in. Whatever you need, environmental impact assessments, network connections, anything. Let's show them what real corporate responsibility looks like. I hugged her, grateful for her support. First step, we need to find office space. Something LEED certified but not too expensive. Already on it. Maya pulled out her phone. There's a new green building downtown. Uses 100% renewable energy. They might even become your first client. As we walked, I spotted my reflection in a store window. I looked different somehow, stronger, more determined. My grandmother had built her own environmental empire from nothing. Now it was my turn. My phone buzzed with a text from my father. Blake says you're starting an environmental consultancy. Let's talk about this. Come to dinner tomorrow. I showed Maya the message. She snorted. He's probably worried you'll become real competition in the sustainability sector. Not yet, I replied, typing out a response. Can't make dinner. Too busy building a sustainable future. I hit send and turned off my phone. You know, Maya said as we reached her electric car, your grandmother would be proud of you. If only she knew how right she was. I smiled, thinking of the trust fund waiting to be activated. But first, I had to prove I could make environmental consulting profitable on my own terms. Come on, I said, getting into the passenger seat. Let's go look at that green office space. I've got some ideas for the impact assessment methodology we need to create. As we drove away, I caught sight of Blake watching us from the coffee shop window. Let him watch. Let them all watch. They thought they'd knocked me down, but they'd actually set me free. And I was going to soar, while making the corporate world a little greener in the process. 3 months later, client meeting. Your environmental impact metrics look impressive, Augusta. The restaurant chain executive turned the sustainability report in her hands. But how can you guarantee consistent results? We've been burned before by consultants who promised green solutions they couldn't deliver. I sat in her LEED-certified downtown office, 3 months into building my company, Green Shift Solutions. The meeting was my biggest pitch yet, a potential contract that could make or break our environmental consulting practice. We've already successfully implemented our methodology with 3 major manufacturers, I replied, pulling up our impact assessment dashboard on my tablet. I can show you our carbon reduction projections. I've seen the numbers, Sarah interrupted. What I need to know is why I should trust you over established environmental firms. I leaned forward. Because, unlike them, we're not just selling sustainability reports. We're offering a complete environmental transformation solution, including staff training and waste reduction implementation. Plus, our fees are 20% lower than traditional consulting firms. Sarah's eyebrows shot up. 20%? How can you maintain quality at those rates? Streamlined methodologies and direct partnerships with environmental technology providers. No corporate overhead. I didn't mention the trust fund that had helped secure those partnerships. We can start with a pilot program, if you prefer. Before Sarah could respond, my phone buzzed. Blake's name flashed on the screen. I declined the call. Family business? Sarah asked, noticing my expression. Former family business, I corrected. I'm building something more sustainable now. She nodded slowly, then reached for the contract. Let's start with a 3-month pilot. 2 locations. If it works out, we'll discuss implementing across all 30 restaurants. My heart soared, but I kept my expression professional as we shook hands. Outside her office, I finally let myself smile. Our first major sustainability client. My phone buzzed again. Blake had left a voicemail. Against my better judgment, I played it. Hey, sis. Heard you're making waves in the environmental sector. Let's grab coffee. I have a proposition that could benefit both our sustainability initiatives. I deleted the message and called Maya instead. We got it. I announced when she picked up. The restaurant chain contract. I knew you would. Maya cheered. This calls for celebration. Organic wine tonight? Can't. Meeting with environmental impact investors tomorrow morning. Rain check? You're working too hard, Maya sighed, but I get it. Just don't forget to. She was cut off by another incoming call, my father, this time. I ignored it. Still not talking to them? Maya asked. Nothing to say. I reached my hybrid car, juggling my phone and briefcase. They made their choice about environmental priorities. I'm making mine. Back at the office, back at our small but energy-efficient office in the green building, I found Blake waiting by my desk. He wore his usual smirk, but something about his expression seemed forced. Nice setup, he gestured around the modern space. Very eco-conscious. What do you want, Blake? Can't a brother check on his sister? He perched on my desk. Actually, I have a business proposal. Evergreen is looking to boost its environmental credentials. Good PR, you know. We could use your consulting services. I stared at him. You want me to consult for the company that dismantled my environmental division? Come on, Augusta, it's just business. Think about it, guaranteed contracts, stable income. Dad feels bad about how things turned out. This could be a way to keep you connected to the family business. I have my own sustainable business now, I replied, setting down my briefcase, and we're doing just fine without greenwashing opportunities. Are you? He picked up a prototype carbon assessment report. These consulting startup costs must be killing you. Where'd you get the capital anyway? That's none of your concern. I took the report from his hands. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have real environmental work to do. Dad's not going to like this, Blake called as I walked him to the door. He thinks you're being stubborn about corporate realities. Dad lost the right to an opinion about my environmental choices. I held the door open pointedly. Send my regards to Victoria. After he left, I sank into my ergonomic chair, hands shaking slightly. They were getting nervous. Good. The restaurant chain contract would be announced next week, and then everyone would know GreenShift Solutions was a serious player in corporate sustainability. My phone lit up with a text from Sarah, contract signed and sent to your lawyer. Looking forward to transforming our environmental impact together. I smiled, thinking of my grandmother. She'd built her environmental empire from nothing, facing much bigger obstacles than I was. The trust fund helped, but the vision, the expertise, the determination, that was all me. Opening my laptop, I began preparing for tomorrow's investor meeting. Let Blake run my father's company into environmental obsolescence. I was building something better, something truly sustainable in every sense of the word. The future was green, and I was going to lead the way. Not as my father's daughter or Blake's stepsister, but as my own person, as my grandmother's granddaughter. 6 months later, Sustainability Conference. The Sustainability Conference hall buzzed with energy as I finished setting up our GreenShift Solutions booth. 6 months of hard work had led to this moment, our official launch into the broader environmental consulting market. Environmental journalists mingled with corporate sustainability officers in the growing crowd. Everything looks perfect. Maya adjusted our display showing real-time carbon reduction metrics. The impact reports are getting a lot of attention already. A reporter from Environmental Business Weekly approached, notepad in hand. Ms. Augusta, I'd love to get your thoughts on disrupting the corporate sustainability sector. Before I could respond, a familiar voice cut through the crowd. Disrupting? That's a bit ambitious for basic environmental consulting, isn't it? Blake stood there, wearing a suit made of supposedly sustainable bamboo fiber. Behind him, my father and Victoria lingered, watching the scene unfold. What are you doing here? I asked, keeping my voice level. Sustainability Conference, SIS. Open to all green initiatives. Blake picked up one of our impact assessment reports. Though calling these revolutionary seems like a stretch. We're launching our own environmental blockchain platform next quarter, actually. The reporter's pen moved quickly across her notepad. Mr. Blake, you're saying Evergreen Chemical is entering the sustainability consulting market as well? Indeed, he smiled. With our resources and established client base, we'll be able to offer much more competitive pricing than smaller operations. Maya stepped forward, but I touched her arm. Actually, I said to the reporter, I'd love to discuss our recent success in reducing the carbon footprint of a national restaurant chain by 45%. They chose us specifically for our proven methodology and measurable results. The reporter's eyes widened. 45% reduction? That's a significant achievement for a new consultancy. We've also secured partnerships with 3 major retail chains for their environmental transformation, I continued, watching Blake's smirk fade. Would you like to see our verified impact data? Augusta, my father stepped forward, his voice low. Can we talk privately about alignment of our environmental initiatives? Sorry, Dad, I'm busy with potential clients who are serious about sustainability. I turned back to the reporter. Shall we discuss those impact metrics? As I walked away with the reporter, I heard Victoria whisper, how did she achieve those reduction numbers so quickly? The next hour flew by in a whirlwind of interviews and demonstrations. Our booth drew consistent crowds, especially after Environmental Business Weekly tweeted about our restaurant chain's successful transformation. This is going better than we hoped. Maya beamed, handling another inquiry about our methodology. We've got 5 potential clients wanting sustainability assessments next week. I spotted Blake arguing with my father near the entrance, gesturing angrily in my direction. Moments later, he stormed over to our booth. Real cute, he spat. You just had to steal the spotlight with your actual results, didn't you? Steal? I laughed. Like you stole my environmental division? That division was handed to me fair and square. Exactly. I met his gaze. Nothing in your life was earned, Blake. That's the difference between us. I actually deliver environmental impact. You think you're so clever? He lowered his voice. But where did you get the startup capital, huh? Dad's been asking questions about your funding. Something doesn't add up. Sounds like a you problem. I turned to greet another potential client, but Blake grabbed my arm. Listen, little. Is there a problem here? A tall man in a well-worn blazer interrupted. I'm Thomas from the Environmental Protection Coalition. We're very interested in your methodologies, Augusta, but if this isn't a good time. Blake released my arm, forcing a smile. No problem at all. Just a family discussion. Former family, I corrected, extending my hand to Thomas. Shall we discuss your sustainability goals? As I led Thomas to our meeting area, I caught sight of my father watching from across the hall. For a moment, our eyes met. He looked older somehow, worried. Victoria whispered something in his ear, and they turned to leave. Impressive operation you've built, Thomas commented, reviewing our sustainability portfolio. Your grandmother Eleanor would be proud. I froze. You knew my grandmother? He smiled. Eleanor was a pioneer in corporate environmental advocacy. We served on several environmental boards together. She always said her granddaughter would revolutionize sustainable business practices someday. Tears pricked at my eyes, but I blinked them away. I hope I'm living up to her environmental vision. From what I've seen today, you're exceeding it. He pulled out a business card. Let's set up a proper meeting. The Environmental Protection Coalition works with over 200 corporations that need serious sustainability transformation. By the end of the day, we'd collected more business cards than I could count. Maya hugged me as we packed up the booth. You showed them, she said. You showed everyone what real environmental impact looks like. I watched Blake leave with his tail between his legs, no doubt heading back to report our success to my father. Let them worry. Let them wonder. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Your grandmother's trust fund is officially activated. First profitable quarter confirmed. Real environmental impact verified. Congratulations. I smiled, tucking the phone away. The money had helped, but today's success, that was all about real environmental transformation. And this was just the beginning of making corporate America truly sustainable. Headlines months later, Green Shift Solutions announces third consecutive quarter of environmental impact. Maya read from her tablet, feet propped on my new bamboo desk. Sustainable business consultancy disrupts industry with proven carbon reduction solutions. I gazed out the floor-to-ceiling windows of our LEED Platinum certified headquarters, still amazed at how far we'd come in 18 months. Read the part about the expansion again. Under CEO Augusta's leadership, the company has transformed environmental practices at major retailers and restaurants nationwide, with plans to expand internationally by next quarter. The door burst open, and Maria, our operations director, rushed in. "Augusta, you need to see this." She handed me her phone, displaying a breaking news article: Evergreen chemical stock plummets amid environmental violations and greenwashing concerns. "Your father's company." Maya leaned over my shoulder to read. "Oh wow, this is bad." The article detailed how Evergreen had been caught falsifying environmental compliance data, trying to cover up toxic emissions after several quarters of failed sustainability initiatives. Blake's leadership was specifically mentioned as a factor in the company's environmental crisis. My phone started ringing. Victoria's number. I declined the call. "They're saying the EPA fines could be in the millions," Maria added, "plus the environmental cleanup costs." Another call, my father, this time. I sent it to voicemail. Maya sat up straight. "You don't think they'll try to come to you for environmental consulting help?" I finished the sentence. "They already are." I showed them my phone screen, displaying a text from Blake: "Need to talk. Environmental emergency. Please." "What are you going to do?" Maya asked quietly. Before I could answer, Maria's phone buzzed. "They're in the lobby," she said. "Your father and Blake. Should I send them away?" I thought about all the nights I'd cried myself to sleep after they dismantled my environmental division, about Blake's smug face at every sustainability conference, about my father's silence when I needed his support for green initiatives. "No," I decided. "Send them up." 5 minutes later, they stood in my office, looking distinctly uncomfortable. My father had aged years and months, and Blake's designer sustainable clothing couldn't hide his desperation. "Nice office," my father said, looking around at our living plant walls and energy usage displays. "You've done well for yourself in the environmental sector. What do you want?" Blake stepped forward. "We need your help. The environmental violations, they happened under the old systems, before we implemented our blockchain solution, but you covered them up instead of fixing them," I finished. "I saw the EPA report. The environmental fines will bankrupt us," my father said quietly. "We need a partner with proven sustainability expertise, someone who can help us transition and rebuild trust in our environmental commitment." "And you thought of me?" I laughed. "How convenient." "Look," Blake's voice cracked. "I know we were wrong about everything. You clearly know what you're doing with environmental transformation. We're offering you a chance to come back, to be part of the family business again." "Part of the family business?" I stood up, walking to our real-time carbon footprint display. "You mean the business that rejected my environmental initiatives, the one you've run into an EPA nightmare?" "Augusta, please," my father stepped forward. "We're family." "Family?" I walked around my desk. Where was family when you gave everything to Blake? Where was family when he tried to undermine my consulting practice? Where was family when Victoria spread rumors about my environmental credentials? They both had the grace to look ashamed. "I built this company from nothing," I continued. "No family connections, no greenwashing, just real environmental expertise and proven results. something neither of you would understand. We can offer you majority control of our environmental compliance, Blake said desperately. Whatever you want. I don't want your failing company, I replied. I have my own successful environmental consultancy. My father sank into a chair. Without help, we'll lose everything to the EPA fines. Like I lost everything I built in your environmental division? I pressed a button on my desk. Maria, please show them out. Augusta, my father stood, looking older than I'd ever seen him. I'm sorry about dismantling your environmental initiatives. I made a terrible mistake. For a moment, I felt my resolve waver. Then I remembered my grandmother's words in her will. Augusta needs to understand what it means to lose corporate support before she can truly build sustainable change. I'm sorry too, Dad, I said softly, but you made your choice about sustainability. Now you have to live with the environmental consequences. After they left, Maya hugged me. Are you okay? I looked around my office, at the environmental impact awards on the walls, the growing team of sustainability experts beyond my door, the solar panels visible from my window that I'd earned through my own efforts. You know what? I smiled. I really am. My phone buzzed with another text from Blake. Please reconsider. We need your environmental expertise. I deleted it without responding. They needed me before, when I was working 80-hour weeks developing sustainable practices. They needed me when I brought in environmental certifications and modernized their compliance systems. They just hadn't valued real sustainability. Now they could watch as their company crumbled while mine thrived. Sometimes environmental karma worked in perfect ways. The news of Evergreen Chemicals' EPA violations splashed across every environmental publication. I sat in my office, scrolling through the headlines. Chemical company faces environmental crisis. Greenwashing scheme leads to corporate downfall. CIO Blake steps down amid EPA investigation. A knock on my door interrupted my reading. Maria poked her head in. Your father's here again. Third time this week. I sighed, closing my laptop. Send him in. He entered slowly, looking nothing like the powerful CEO I'd grown up admiring. His suit hung loose on his frame, his hair now more gray than black. The headquarters is being sold to cover the environmental fines, he said without preamble, sinking into the chair across from me. Victoria's filing for divorce. I kept my voice neutral. Where's Blake? Dubai, supposedly. Trying to secure green energy investors. He laughed bitterly. No one will touch us now that the EPA violations are public. I poured 2 cups of fair trade coffee, sliding one across to him. Why are you here, Dad? I had a lot of time to think lately, he said, staring into the cup, about choices, about legacy. Your grandmother Eleanor would be so disappointed in me. Probably, I agreed. She believed in genuine environmental responsibility, not superficial green initiatives. He gestured at my office. 2 years ago, I thought I was protecting the company by giving it to Blake. I convinced myself he had the right vision, that you were too idealistic about sustainability. And now I watch you in the news, leading the industry, transforming how business approaches environmental responsibility. He looked up, eyes glistening. You did everything I always wanted for the company, just without me. I had help, I said, thinking of my grandmother's trust fund, just not from you. The Environmental Trust Fund. He nodded. Marcus finally told me about it last week. Mother always was 3 steps ahead of everyone in the sustainability movement. I froze. You know about that? She set it up right after I married Victoria, he smiled sadly. She saw what I couldn't, or wouldn't, that I was letting my new wife influence my judgment against real environmental progress, letting her push you and your sustainable initiatives out. It wasn't just Victoria, I said quietly. You made your choices about our environmental future, Dad. I did. He pulled an envelope from his jacket. That's why I'm here. These are my remaining shares in Evergreen Chemical. They're not worth much now, but... He slid the envelope across my desk. They should go to you. They always should have been yours. I stared at the envelope. I don't want them. I know. He stood up. But I need you to have them. Not to save the company, it's too late for that, but because they belong to you, because I was wrong about sustainability. Dad. You know what the worst part is? He moved to the window, looking out at the solar panels. Watching you succeed without me, knowing I could have been part of something extraordinary in environmental business, if I'd just believed in my own daughter. I joined him at the window. I would have made you proud with real sustainable change. You did make me proud, Augusta, he said, just not the way I expected. He turned to face me. You built something better than I ever could. You did it your way, the right way for the environment. Is that why Victoria's leaving? Because you lost everything to environmental fines? He shook his head. She's leaving because Blake emptied their accounts before he fled. Like mother like son, I suppose. Despite everything, I felt a twinge of sympathy. What will you do now? Start over. Get a small apartment, maybe consult independently on environmental compliance if anyone will hire me after this scandal. He straightened his tie. I'm not here to ask for help, Augusta. I just needed you to know that I understand now, and I'm sorry for not supporting your environmental vision. As he turned to leave, I called out, Dad. He paused at the door. There's a sustainable cafe around the corner. They make decent plant-based breakfast options if you wanted to, maybe next week? A small smile crossed his face. I'd like that. After he left, I opened the envelope, looking at the worthless shares of my father's environmentally compromised company. Then I glanced at my own company's latest impact reports, another record quarter of corporate sustainability transformations. Maya burst in. Did I just see your dad leaving? Are you okay? I'm fine, I said, and meant it. Actually, I'm better than fine. What did he want? I tucked the envelope into my desk drawer. To admit he was wrong about sustainability, to say he's proud of my environmental work. And are you going to help them? I thought about my grandmother, about legacy, about earning success in sustainable business. No, I said finally. But I might have breakfast with him next week. Maya smiled. Your grandmother would approve of that balance of personal and professional boundaries. Looking out at my growing sustainable empire, I knew she was right. Sometimes karma wasn't about revenge. It was about finding your own path to environmental change, even when others tried to block it. And sometimes, just sometimes, it was about being strong enough to listen when those who wronged you finally admitted their mistakes about sustainability. Epilogue Cemetery Visit. The autumn breeze rustled through the cemetery's sustainably maintained grounds as I placed locally grown flowers on my grandmother's grave. The recycled marble headstone gleamed in the morning sun, Eleanor's name etched in elegant script. I brought someone to see you, Grandma, I said softly, stepping aside as my father approached. He placed his own bouquet beside mine, his hands trembling slightly. We'd been meeting for breakfast every Wednesday for the past month, slowly rebuilding what we'd lost. Today, he'd asked to come here with me. Hello, Mother, he said, voice thick with emotion. I should have visited sooner. My phone buzzed, another news alert about Blake. He'd been arrested in Dubai, trying to use fake environmental credentials to access frozen accounts. Victoria had already fled to Europe with whatever she'd managed to salvage from the wreckage of their lives. "Did you see the news?" Dad asked. I nodded. Karma has a way of catching up with greenwashing. That it does. He straightened up, adjusting his now-worn tie. "I have something to tell you. I got a job offer yesterday. Small environmental compliance firm, helping companies prevent the mistakes I made at Evergreen." "Dad, that's wonderful. They found me through you, actually. They said if I taught you everything you know about corporate governance, I must have some value to add beyond my cautionary tale." He smiled wryly. "I told them you taught me more about real sustainability than I ever taught you." A familiar voice called from behind us, "Augusta, I thought I might find you here." We turned to see Marcus approaching, carrying a folder. "Your grandmother left instructions to give you this after certain conditions were met," he said, handing me the folder. "You've exceeded all of them." Inside was a letter, written in my grandmother's distinctive handwriting. "My dearest Augusta, if you're reading this, you've done more than simply claim your inheritance, you've earned it. You've built something meaningful, something truly sustainable. But more importantly, you've learned the lesson I hoped you would, that true success comes not from what we're given, but from what we create for the future of our planet. I'm sorry I had to be secretive about the trust fund, but I needed you to find your own strength in sustainable business. Your father had to learn his lesson too, though I suspect his will be harder. Remember, legacy isn't about money or power, it's about impact. Make yours count for the environment. All my love." Grandma Eleanor. Tears blurred my vision as I passed the letter to my father. He read it silently, then folded it carefully. "She knew," he said quietly. "She knew I would fail you on sustainability, and she prepared for it. She knew I could learn from it," I corrected. "Just like she knew I needed to lose everything to build something better for the environment." Marcus cleared his throat. "There's more. Eleanor left instructions for a sustainable business foundation to be established once you proved yourself. The paperwork is ready. She wanted you to lead it." I stared at him. "A foundation? To help young entrepreneurs start sustainable businesses?" He smiled. "She believed in paying environmental progress forward." My father touched the headstone gently. "That sounds exactly like her." Looking between my grandmother's grave and the folder in my hands, I felt everything come full circle. She hadn't just given me an escape route, she'd given me a mission to transform business. "Dad," I said suddenly, "would you like to help with the foundation? Your experience, even the mistakes, could be valuable for teaching others." He looked startled, then deeply moved. "You trust me with that?" "Trust is earned," I replied, "just like sustainability. But everyone deserves a chance to rebuild." Marcus handed me a pen. "Shall we make it official?" As I signed the foundation documents on my grandmother's grave, I felt a profound sense of peace. My father stood beside me, not as the man who had betrayed my environmental vision, but as someone learning to be better. Somewhere in Europe, Victoria and Blake were facing the consequences of their greenwashing. And here I was, building something new again, not out of revenge or spite, but out of hope for a sustainable future. "What would you name it?" my father asked. I looked at my grandmother's name on the headstone, remembering her strength, her foresight, her belief in sustainable business practices. "The Eleanor Foundation for Sustainable Innovation," I decided. Because true legacy isn't what we inherit, it's what we build for future generations. The autumn wind picked up, scattering leaves around us. In that moment, I could almost feel my grandmother's approval. She'd known all along that losing my corporate position would lead me to something greater, not just success, but understanding, not just wealth, but wisdom about real environmental change. And as I stood there, between my father and my grandmother's grave, holding the future of a new environmental foundation in my hands, I realized that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well, building better, and helping others do the same. That was the real inheritance my grandmother had left me, a chance to make lasting change in how business approaches sustainability, and I intended to make it count.